guys, I'm Gina Martin with Newcap News.
And I'm Brian Lentz, and today
we are cooking for a professional chef. So it should be pretty interesting. We're actually making a couple of dishes that we've never cooked before, including a pork tenderloin with apple chutney.
And we'll also be making some sweet mashed potatoes and a sort of kitchen sink salad for a well-known chef in town. His name is Chef Louis, and he's actually been in town for a number of decades. Started out as a mechanic, believe it or not, and just worked his way up.
Okay, so we have our pan boiling with hot water.
That's right.
And because it's a salad, you don't need too many pieces of asparagus, so we're just going with 4 spears. And the first thing you want to do before you blanch it is just find that sweet spot where it's going to snap.
Just
Looks
like
like
that.
yours is a bit tougher. But yeah, so we'll do that one more time. Again, we're only using about 4 spears here, but again, just find that spot. It snaps nice and easily.
Yeah.
All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to transfer this asparagus into the skillet of boiling water and leave it in there for about a minute or 2 or until it turns that nice green that you want from your asparagus.
All right.
Awesome.
I'm glad you know what you're doing.
Yeah. So it's just going to let it cool. It's already turning green, as you can see there. It's really cool.
Oh, yeah.
That's how blanching works. And
Oh, that's very
you
interesting.
do that with lettuce sometimes too, or cabbage when you're making certain dishes, but just leave it with the asparagus for now, and we'll come back to that in a few minutes. All right, so it's been a few minutes. We can see it's nice and brightly green. So to prevent it from cooking any longer, I'm going to put it into a bowl of ice cold water. We just use cold water here, but if you want to put some ice cubes in, you're more than welcome to. And yeah, we're going to let that cool, and then we'll use that for our salad.
Ingredients courtesy of Co-op Marketplace. We'll be back with more after the break.
All right, welcome back, guys. This is where the fun really gets started as Brian and I attempt to make an apple chutney to start things off today. So Brian, we've already minced some ginger, have some onions diced. Chutney is nice because it doesn't take too much work, and the chopping doesn't have to be too pristine. So we do need some orange juice, though. We're going to do fresh squeezed orange juice with some oranges here. So I'm going to cut just this one in half, and if you want to grab that orange, Brian, I'll let you do the next one.
So I've never made an apple chutney or any sort of chutney before.
I've tasted a lot of them, and it goes really nice with pork. Just apple and pork go so nicely together.
Yeah, I've always found applesauce really brings out pork chops.
Exactly. So this is probably going to be pretty delicious today. I say probably because, again, we aren't chefs,
That's right.
but we'll make it work. Okay, let's squeeze this orange juice in here. Okay, let's add some ginger that we minced up. This is 2 tablespoons of ginger.
Alrighty.
So we're just going to put that right in there. Can't go wrong with ginger and citrus. Beautiful. And why don't you put the 1 cup chopped onion there as well.
Alrighty.
Next thing we're going to do is 3/4 cups of apple cider vinegar.
And so
Perfect. We just had enough there.
And so it needs to be apple cider vinegar. It shouldn't be other sorts of vinegar.
A cider vinegar of any sort should be fine. Apple cider is ideal, obviously, but you can get a variation of ciders, I believe. 1 cup brown sugar, but
All right.
we don't.
This is
we're
on
not
you.
gonna do
I
that.
always measure it out. This is okay.
Keep going, and that should be good right there.
All right.
It's already you can smell the vinegar.
Oh yeah, yeah,
With
that's
the ginger,
right.
it smells really good. 1/4 teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes there. Beautiful. Add a little spice to it. And I lied, we actually do need mustard seeds as well. A teaspoon for those. I've never used mustard seeds in my cooking before.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to trying this. All right. We are going to transfer this over to the stove and mix it for all those people out there waiting for me to mix this finally. So we're going to bring this to a boil, and Brian is going to get started on some apples because you can't have an apple chutney Without some Granny Smith
the
apples.
Yeah, and you know, Granny Smith apples are actually my favorite kind of apples. And I had braces until recently, and I wasn't really able to enjoy them. It's just not the same when you have to cut them up.
You see, I'm not a big Granny Smith apple fan, just like to eat, but they are really good in food. I know that for sure. They just, that tartness in them brings out the sweetness. It certainly will in this chutney that we're making here. And we're going to be peeling 6 apples in total, coring them, and chopping and adding those apple pieces right into the boiling mixture that we have on the stove right now.
Alrighty. So the recipe calls to have them cored, but another thing you can do is if you don't have one of those fancy tools, you can just cut them around the core like so, and
just dice it up.
so smaller than that,
Gina? Let's half those one more time there. Just think about how you want your chutney, you know? Do you want bigger pieces of apple or smaller ones? We're striking for that medium here. And so Brian's going to give these to me. And we're going to pop these right into the boiling mixture we have on the stove right now, just so the apples don't brown. So it's a team effort here.
That's right. I'll just keep working at this.
Are you smelling that, Brian? Using Gold Brand raisins for this. Thanks again to Co-op for these lovely raisins that we're going to be using. 3/4 cups. Looks about right there. Brian's working on the last of the apples here.
That's right. Almost finished.
So we'll put that all together in a moment.
So we're adding the last of the apples there.
And then some raisins to just bring the chutney all together. So stir that. Already some of these apples are becoming very tender.
So what should people do now? Should they leave that boiling away, or what's the next step here?
Well, the next step is kind of hurry up and wait. So we're going to reduce this heat just so it's into a simmer. And you want most of this moisture that we're seeing here evaporated. So what we did, I'm not going to lie, we only used 3 apples in this process. So I'm not sure if we're going to absorb all that moisture, but again, if you want to, 6 Granny Smith apples will do that.
And how long do we need to leave that for?
At least 50 minutes up to an hour usually it takes before it really soaks in all of that flavor.
Right, so we can kind of just leave that be while we start to work on the pork tenderloin.
You got it.
So the next step is the pork tenderloins, that's right?
That is correct.
Okay.
Got one for you.
Excellent.
And one for me.
Okay.
This is a really nice cut of meat. We've already patted them down dry, so if you haven't done that at home, just make sure to get some paper towel and pat it down.
And so the next step is we need to put some oil on that?
Yes, because we're going to coat it in some herbs. Fresh rosemary, fresh thyme always works well. We're just using dry ingredients today because, again, Co-op provided those to us and they'll work just as good.
That's right.
So just a little drizzle. I'll let you do the next one.
Alrighty, so if you want, I can sort of manhandle these, or?
Yes, so that's what we need to do. Our hands are washed, and we're just gonna make sure this tenderloin is coated in that oil.
Okay, so now we need to put on some rosemary and thyme onto these bad boys.
I have the thyme over here, so I'll just start sprinkling that. And you can use fresh too, right? Fresh rosemary, fresh thyme.
Yes, we'll trade. Yeah, that's right.
Now, rosemary leaves are quite bigger, so make sure you give yourself a generous portion of that.
Okay. I think that looks pretty good. Yeah. And next is the prosciutto wrapping here.
Just to make it extra decadent.
That's right. So we just take one and try to wrap the ends underneath it there, as we sort of wrap the prosciutto around just like so. So
easy peasy. I'll try one here. And if you have a tenderloin with like a little tail at the end, like I have here, just tuck it in.
Oh, I forgot that.
So you get an even cook on your tenderloin. Well, you got a lot of prosciutto on yours. I was sparing with mine. I only used 3. What do you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
Yeah, I like my prosciutto.
Jeez, apparently.
Okay, so now we need to tie them off. So using some string here So I think quarters will be good enough, and then we can wrap them.
Never wrapped something before, so this will be a test. All right, so our tenderloins are packaged and ready to go.
That's
so we're
right.
going to pop these into a 450-degree oven. Do you like medium rare or more of a medium tenderloin?
I like a well-cooked tenderloin.
Okay, so we're going to put this in for about 25 minutes. If you want to do more of a medium rare, only about 20 minutes. But we'll pop these in for about 25.
Good, I'll get the oven for you.
Ingredients provided by Co-op Marketplace. We'll be back after this.
Okay, so now we need to make some mashed sweet potatoes, which I am always a fan.
It's so easy too. I'm a fan of how easy it is. So we've already peeled and quartered these, but we still need to take it one more step and dice them up into about a 1/4-inch thick pieces. Brian is our designated chopper, I feel like, today. And along with the chopping there, we're going to have butter, we're going to have some heavy cream, and we're going to have a dash of brown sugar as well, just to sweeten it up. Not that it's already sweet enough already, but it's mashed sweet potatoes. You can't go wrong with a little sugar in it.
Yeah, that's right. And another way that you could prepare these sweet potatoes is by putting them in the oven, right?
Well, a lot of people think this is weird, but I found this a staple with my mashed sweet potatoes, is that you put marshmallows on top, and just pop it in the oven right near the end, brown those marshmallows on top. It's delicious. So before we put those sweet potatoes in, we got 4 tablespoons of a Co-op Gold brand butter here. Gonna melt that with 2 tablespoons of some heavy cream. Again, I'm an eyeballer, so that should be about good.
That's a lot of cream right there.
It's not that much cream.
Well, with the butter and everything, this is going to taste.
Yeah, this isn't the healthy menu, and we're just putting a little sprinkle of brown sugar in. About close to a teaspoon should be fine.
Okay.
Now let's throw those sweet potatoes in.
Alrighty. Oop. Try not to make a mess there.
And really, at this point, you just kind of want to bring all of these mixtures together. Obviously, our butter just needs to melt. You're going to bring that all together and then wait about 30 to 45 minutes. Then take a masher and you're going to mash them all up. So we'll show you that in a little bit here. Well, we're finally getting to the finish line here. Nothing completes a meal, though, quite like a nice salad. And what I like about this one is that there's no actual lettuce involved. It's called a kitchen sink salad because you can use everything but the kitchen sink in this probably. So I guess you could use lettuce. We're not going to this time. Brian, you got a cucumber. You'll be dicing that up. I got a roasted red pepper here. And that just comes from a jar. You can actually get 2 per jar. So if you wanted to add another one, you're more than welcome to. We're going to dice these up first.
I'll try to use some proper technique with this here, but...
I won't.
Okay.
Oh, I think I'm even using the proper knife.
Kind of glad Louis isn't here to just shake his head at us.
Yeah. So what we're going to use next is some blanched asparagus that we've cooled off.
So we've also got some artichoke hearts here that I'll be cutting up. And so am I dicing these? Am I slicing these? What?
Good question. I guess it's a kitchen sink salad. So I mean, there are guidelines, not really rules to follow here.
Right.
But I think that would be plenty for artichoke hearts. Let's maybe quarter them.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll do that. I will dice up. We have 4 sprigs of asparagus here.
And next, so we've got some olives there, correct?
Yeah, and you got some cherry tomatoes.
That's right.
We'll start slicing those. There's a lot of saltiness with this salad too. So I don't know if you want to counter that with something sweet. You could try. We're not really going to today. The sweetest we're probably going to get is with these tomatoes right here. And I'm just gonna...
And you know, I used to not be a fan of tomatoes, but in recent years I've, you know, finishing college, you start to learn that some things are good for you after all.
I think it's an acquired taste. I think as you grow older, tomatoes don't seem so bad. Now to add a bit more flavor to this mix to counteract that saltiness, we got a couple of herbs here. I got some dill. I'm going to use about a teaspoon of it, and you
We've
got
some
parsley.
That's right.
So probably do the same of both. I'm actually gonna be a little stingy and do a little less. I know dill can be very overpowering, so I'm gonna play it safe. But also you can use fresh herbs if you like too. Can't go wrong. And then for a bit of dressing, we're just gonna use some lemon juice. I'm opting for fresh squeeze. You can even add a little bit of the zest from the lemon as well if you wanted a bit more tart there. But again, just squeeze a little bit in there. That should be good.
And then we'll be adding some olive oil here as well.
Yeah, just a dash of it.
Just a dash.
Perfect. And we're gonna mix that all together, and then this salad is complete.
So now we'll mix this all together. Some people opt for mixing it with their hands, but I think for now we'll just use this spoon. That seems to get it mixed up fairly well.
Looks like it's gonna be pretty good.
Yeah, hopefully.
Light tasting too, like nothing too overpowering in there.
Ingredients for the show courtesy of Co-op Marketplace. We're back after this.
There we go.
Look at these.
Oh, you got it there,
Looks
Gina?
like our prosciutto stayed on.
That's good.
Bit of sizzle there.
Oh, there's quite a lot of smoke coming off of that there.
So we're not quite done yet with our tenderloin. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna put them on some tin foil, roll that up, and then they're gonna sit at room temperature for another 15 minutes before we serve them. Yeah, I guess a good note, you want to be quick about it or wear some gloves that aren't going to burn you as much.
That's right. Be smart about it.
So again, we're going to leave these in for about 15 minutes here before we serve. Then we're going to slice them up, add them with our chutney, and just put the whole meal together.
And we are joined by Chef Louis. Hello, Chef.
Hello.
So we've prepared for you some pork tenderloin, some smashed sweet potatoes, and a kitchen sink salad.
And also an apple chutney
That's right.
on top of your pork tenderloin.
That's right.
Very good.
So what do you think of the presentation so far?
More overall look in the plate. Plating is a little bit to the amateur, you know.
Fair enough.
Yeah. But, you know, it's not always the plating that was counting, it's how it tastes, you know. So we'll give it a try.
All
How's
right.
that, okay?
Bon appetit.
Put that. Taste very good.
Okay.
Yay!
The chutney, it has good flavors, but I would like to see a little bit more like syrupy.
Okay.
It has lost, you know, all the juices. Same thing a little bit with the pork. The potato is very good for a sweet potato. A little bit more seasoning you can add to that. Fresh thyme, it goes well with it. Zest of an orange or orange juice you can add to this. A little bit nutmeg. For the chutney, the chutney is good. It tastes very good. The other thing you can add to that is some rosemary, because it goes well with the pork. Rosemary is one herb that it goes well with the pork, and a little bit garlic. You can add to that. So for the salad, it looks very good. The color is good. It's just, we'll taste now everything. It tastes good. The only thing what I would like to see more to this, one thing I noticed, it should be salty, but it's not enough. So what I like to do every time that you do a cooking, taste before, you know, you put them together. But it is nice. It's got the earthly, good taste there. But you can use a fresh green pepper or red pepper and roast it yourself. If I was in a restaurant and ordered this meal, what I will say, you know, is good. I will say, if I go from 1 to 10, it's a 7.5.
Hey, I'll take it. You had me nervous there for a second. Well, next year, you know, we'll try to boost that up to a 10 for you.
That's right.
Very good. You know, you guys did a good job.
Thank you so much, Chef Louis.
You're welcome.
Well, we'll leave it at that for this evening. Thank you again so much for joining us. Try this recipe for yourself. Maybe you can do better than a 7.5. We'd like to thank Co-op again for all the food they helped donate so we can make these lovely meals. And yeah.
All right, yeah, for sure. Be sure to try this yourself. Didn't take too long, a little bit over an hour, and you might be able to surprise some of your families back home.
If I was preparing this meal, I will have my meat a little bit more undercooked, because leaving it for 15 minutes in the foil, you lose lots of the juices, and of course, it's still cooking. So a medium rare, it will have been just perfect, and by the time you cut it, it will just have been, you know, that medium well. When you plate, you're supposed to cut the meat not too thick of a slice. I would like you to see, you know, cutting it in a smaller size. It's easier to chew and it's easier to plate. Now, what I will do, I will start with my mashed potato. Always put them in the middle of the plate. And then a little bit of the chutney together. Then I will put my pork on top of it. Now, if I had a little bit juice more from my chutney, I was just going to put them on my pork. And of course, we have our salad. Just put them in one side there. And you don't have to overfill the plate. You overfill the plate, it's not good. So, for me, that's the way I like to see the plate.